we don't have people coming in here every single day being like, man, your prices suck. All right, so there's a lot that I have to do today. There's a lot that I want to show you guys. We had a really nice collection come in this week. I actually showed it on one of our older videos. If you watched the Mike pickup video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We're talking rare NES and rare Game Boy games, plus one rare N64 game. And I'll just give you a little sneak peek. This game here, Contra Force, is going into the store today. So we also had all the trade-ins from last week. We had a pretty good weekend for trade-ins, so I'm going to be going through all of that. It's just sitting on the floor over there, but I'm going to take nice pictures and put them up to Facebook and Instagram. And of course, I'll shoot a video for you guys. We had a lot of people message us during the week, and as you know, we're only open on Sundays, so we like to get back to people as soon as we can. So I'm here on Thursday evening. I'm going to let these people know if what they're looking for is here, just to get an idea of what people are asking for, right, at our store. Typically, it's Nintendo. Typically, it's like, you know, collectible stuff. We also have some restock that I have to put in, and just a bunch of miscellaneous stuff that has to go into the store. The most important thing to bring to a game store: new pens, new pads, and bags and batteries. We seriously need all these things all the time, guys. So I'm gonna be working hard on all that. I'm actually here in the evening tonight to do this during the week before Sunday. It has been so busy lately on Sundays. And as you know, there's only one of us that works the store every Sunday. And it just, when it's super busy like that, it's hard to do a lot of these things when we're open. So we like to come during the week. Joe did this a few weeks ago. He actually came here at night. I think he left at like midnight or something like that. I'm hoping not to leave that late tonight. This is what it looks like behind the flea market after you leave. Got the games. Gonna head home before the wild turkeys get me. But we'll see what happens. So let's get going. All right, guys, so here it is, the collection for Mike. And what I've done is stacked the games in terms of rarity / price. So basically, the cheaper or less rare game is going to be on the top, and then we're going to finish with a banger at the bottom. And I guarantee you, you're going to really like what's at the bottom of basically each of these piles. Each of these piles contains some super rare games, and I can't wait to show them to you guys. I guess I'll start off with the Switch game, though. You know, it's so funny, right? Because we got all these like gray cart games here, and then boom! Fox and Forest. And this is a strictly limited game, release number 12 of 228 of however many they made. I think typically they made 5,000, could be a lot less, but this is a super rare Switch game, guys. This is a game that's going like roughly around $300 right now. So this is a big one for us to add to our collection. We're super happy to add that in. All right, so let's start with the Super Nintendo. We've got Street Fighter Alpha 2. Don't get this one in too often. A little bit of a rough label, but that usually happens with this game. I find the labels aren't good on this game for some reason. Let me know in the comments down below why that might be. And then next we have Space Megaforce. This is, I mean, probably the best shooter for the system. It is such a good game. Super rare as well, so very happy to add that one in. Next we have the N64 games. We've got Toy Story 2, Beetle Adventure Racing, Earthworm Jim 3D, in really nice shape. Indiana Jones Infernal Machine. This was the Blockbuster exclusive right there. And finally, Starshot. This is a very rare game for the N64. We've had this game before, but we haven't had it in a while. So obviously very happy to get this one in. Another really cool thing about Mike's collection is that he's got all these end labels on the N64 games, which makes it much easier to browse through. Next, we've got this tall stack of Game Boy games. So we've got Toy Story, Pocahontas, Jungle Book, Daedalian Opus, everyone's favorite game to say. What in the world is that? Tasmania, Pac-Man, Namco Edition, Speedy Gonzales, Yogi Bear Gold Rush, Hercules, Game & Watch Gallery, The Page Master, Altered Space, Rocky and Bullwinkle, Monster Max, Mulan, Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, and this is the PAL version. So it's going to say it right there. You're going to see the EUR. This is the PAL version in really nice shape. Elevator Action, Star Saver, which looks really cool. I've never seen this game before either. Love the box art or cart art for this one, I guess you could say. Pokemon Red in really nice condition. Cool World, which seems to be a rare game on whichever console you buy it on. F1 Pole Position. This is one of the rarest games for the Game Boy. A super hard game to get, and as Mike taught me a couple of weeks ago, this game was just, it was much cheaper in Europe, but the North American version of the game is super expensive and super rare. We also got the manual for it, which I would imagine is even more rare. So very happy to add those to our collection. Finally, the last Game Boy game that we got in, and one of the rarest games for the Game Boy, Toxic Crusaders. And it is in super nice condition. You can see there's a little bit of peeling there at the bottom, but the label's mint. It's beautiful, guys. This is a rare game. It's a quote-unquote heavy hitter. Joe loves it when I say that. Anyway, guys, super happy to add that one in as well. Finally, we've got the NES. So we've got Jurassic Park, which is a pretty obscure NES game. Yo-Noid, Punisher, Arkista's Ring, another very rare game to get. Not super expensive compared to most rare games, but definitely a hard one to find. Return of the Joker. This is an awesome game. I love this game, and this one's in super nice shape. Ghost Lion, with some of the best box art you'll ever see. Contra Force, the least popular of the Contra games. And Metal Storm. I love this game. It is so good. The label's in pretty nice condition, like I'd say very good. Unfortunately, it looks like this might have been a rental at one time, so whatever that is there is there, but this is such a good game, and I'll be honest with you guys, we haven't had this game in years, so we're so happy to add it to our collection, and I doubt it's going to stay here long. It's a very desirable game. A lot of people want to add this to their collection. Princess Tomato. Check out that cart art. Awesome stuff. Two more games here. Gun-Knack. Oh, this game is so good. Definitely the best shooter on the system. So good, and it's in very nice condition. Like, this is a good label. And finally, Cowboy Kid. This game is really hard to come by. It's definitely in the rare category. It's gotten more expensive over the years, as have a lot of the rare NES games. And I don't believe we've ever had this game in our collection. So it's pretty cool to have this in the store right now. Really happy with this. Thanks to Mike for the trade. Really appreciate it. So another thing I wanted to mention about the games from Mike's collection is that I posted that video a couple of days ago. After posting that video, a lot of our regulars actually messaged us about the collection, and like I hadn't even looked up prices yet. I hadn't even done it. I was just working hard to get the video out, and it was the first time we'd posted a video to YouTube before we posted pictures to our Facebook account. And so kudos to those people that messaged us. What I'm going to do is message you first, and because I suspect a lot of people are going to be looking for these games once they're posted to our Facebook account. But I mean, I got to give props to the people watching the channel. Like, I mean, I appreciate that. And not to say you have to watch the channel. I'm not trying to do this on purpose. It's just sort of worked out that way. Yeah, it was really neat to like post stuff and then get responses before we'd even posted to any social media. Pretty cool. So just wanted to show you guys how I laid out the games. It was super fun to do this. I know I've said super a lot today, but honestly, it was like a lot of fun to do this. Honestly, guys, like we don't get collections like this all the time. We get a lot of trade-ins, obviously, but to get these rare games and to get so many at once, it's just really cool. And I'm really excited to post these to Facebook. And I honestly suspect within minutes, we're gonna have people messaging us, which is obviously awesome. All right, guys, so I have an exciting announcement. We are gonna be doing our next outdoor sale on Sunday, September 24th. It's gonna be from 9 to 5, as always. We're gonna be set up outside with deals galore, as I like to put in the messages. Look, I'll be honest with you, we always do these sales twice a year, and I always say the next one is the biggest one, and this one is, if not the biggest one, it'll be as big as the last one. We've had a lot of stuff come in. We've been working really hard, grabbing games from our storage unit. This whole middle area here was totally full with games. So those are the games that we're gonna be selling at the next outdoor sale. And we've even been going through all the shelves and just pulling games. So this area looks a lot more empty. This area as well. Even our NES was like sort of double stacked. We've just been pulling games from every single area, getting ready for the outdoor sale. Still have tons of Wiis. Oh man, the boxed Wiis. Pulling items, pricing items, just working really hard to try to get you guys super deals on what we're able to discount, right? Our outdoor sales, like, I don't know, I enjoy them so much. They're kind of like an event for us. We work really hard for weeks and months at a time to get these ready. I know I've been working at it at my house. Joe's been doing stuff at his house. And fortunately, September 24th works for us. We need 3 of us to be here. I have to be here, Joe has to be here, and Frank has to be here. We need enough people, somebody inside the store, somebody outside, and a runner, which is typically this guy right here. We'll hopefully see you guys there. So this is the store right now. We had some really busy weeks, and you can see lots of gaps in there, lots of empty spaces. This PS3 section is still pretty full, but there's a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a few gaps in there. Our NES section is looking decimated. Like typically it's about this high all the way across and actually one more row higher. But you can see NES is selling so well for us lately. And to be honest, we're having trouble restocking some of those more obscure games in like the $10 to $15 range. Super happy obviously that everything's selling well, but restocking the NES section is a bit of a challenge right now. GameCube section is looking really good, so super happy with that. I gotta stop saying super happy. I need a new saying. If you have a better idea for super happy, please let me know, because I say super happy or super awesome all the time. I need another saying. I need something a little better. Yeah, we hasn't been selling crazy right now. This is typically a big seller for us in November, December when we approach Christmas. Our N64 section is also looking pretty depleted. Unfortunately, we haven't had a lot of N64 traded in lately. We always want to get more. If you're local and you're looking to trade, we are always taking in basically any gray cart. Same goes with the Super Nintendo. There's a lot of gaps in there. So these are games that, you know, we just don't have extra restock of. Like when I have the restock this week, I believe we sold roughly 15 to 20 NES games last week, and I only had 5 of them in my restock. Lots of Genesis though. Always have lots of Genesis. We've also got our PS2 section, same sort of deal. A lot of little gaps in there. One of the coolest sales that we had last week was we sold the boxed Pokemon Stadium 2. That was a really cool sale for us. It was quite pricey, but it was cool to see it sold. It was in mint condition, so people love to get their mint boxes. You know, anytime you're at a retro video game store, the conversation comes up, like people talk about the old days, you know, just ripping their boxes apart and the value of boxes now compared to games, because often the box is worth way more, especially if it's a rare or obscure title. The display cabinet is doing really well. So Joe put in a bunch of rare PS3 here the other week, and then he put the rest of it over there. Joe doesn't know this, but I'm going to try to fit it all in here because my type A personality needs to see all of the PS3 right here as my voice cracks. We'll have to find another home for some of these games. Maybe some of the stuff up here. We shall see. Amiibos have also been selling pretty well. We have a few gaps over here, which is really nice. And then we sold a few of the ones that were over here as well. So what I'm gonna do is probably move a few more of these up to the top there. We'll put them back over there, and that way we have our counter free again. Even our 360 section is looking pretty depleted right now. Like there's a lot of gaps everywhere in here, which is great, right? Like games are selling, but we need to restock them. We like the shelves to be looking nice and jam-packed. All right, guys, so I was just able to make it work. I've got all the rare and obscure PS3 all stacked up nicely here, just fit in there. Move the PS Vita up to there and just sort of move some things around. At the bottom here, you'll find all the collector's editions. You know, collector's editions are awesome, obviously, but they are slow sells for us at this store. So some of these might sit here for a while. Then again, you might get someone coming in that wants to grab 1 or 2 of these. We do typically sell them, I find, in bunches these days. A lot of these might sell before Christmas as well. Maybe I'll just do a little bit of a show here to show you guys what we have in our display case. We keep all of our Switch here. It's a lot easier to see the titles. All of our sealed stuff is up here. Some GameCube up there. We got this Resident Evil 10-year anniversary collection a few weeks ago. Really nice. Never had that in the store, so very happy to add that. Notice how I didn't say super happy? So here's a look at what was traded in last week. I'm gonna put these up on the shelves. Got some nice PS4 in here. Got obviously your Pokemon, Fire Emblem games. There's a lot of really good stuff in this bag here. This bag was awesome to get traded in. Bunch more games over here. We got another 3DS, which is awesome. Got a PS4 and a bunch more games there and a Game Gear in here. So I'm gonna be going through all of this and putting it up on the shelves shortly and showing you guys what was traded in. I have all of the trades from last week lined up on the counter here. I'm gonna take pictures of all this, post it again to Facebook, but this is what got traded in last week. It was a pretty busy Sunday for sales, but also a pretty good day for trades. So I'll start over here. We're getting a lot of PS4 traded in lately, which is really cool because we always want to fill up our PS4 section. Always great to get those in. Got a couple of PS5 games. Look at that. Check it out. Madden's like super happy. He's like, look at me. So that brings our PS5 section to 6 games now. Banjo there. A few GameCube games as well. Some nice Wii. Obviously got your Mario, House of Dead 2 and 3. Really fun game to play. It's fun to prop up a television and play standing up like you're in the arcade with that game. Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, a really hard game to come by, so we're very happy to get that one in. We got a couple of Switch games in here, a couple of Pokemon games, always good to get those. Some more common PS3, few PS2 games in here. Outlaw Volleyball. They're outlaws playing volleyball. And there's Sly Cooper just hanging out at the bottom there. Some nice 3DS games as well and 1DS games. So it's always good to get 3DS games in. They're selling really well these days. And then over here, 3 copies of Pokemon Gold. Like this has never happened before. So that's pretty funny. Actually, one person sold us 2 and another person sold us 1. And got blue and silver there plus Donkey Kong. And then some nice GBA games here as well. And Pokemon Platinum, which we don't actually have a copy right now, so it's really nice to get that in. And that'll be our second copy of Leaf Green. Plus we got a 3DS XL. So some pretty good trade-ins there. So we're gonna price these and put them on the shelves for this Sunday. So it's really important when you own a store with a partner that you fully trust the partner and that you really get along well. And I think it's also really important to point out when you're right. You know, not when you're wrong, because you don't want to point out when you're wrong. You want to point out when you're right. And Joe actually pointed out when I was right last time.
A couple of loose discs. Actually, I was a little skeptical when Dave hung the loose discs from the display cabinet. I didn't think it was going to work. And lo and behold, we sold a loose copy of Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 3 from that display that he put up. So good work to Dave.
But I think it's very important that I show everybody once again how right I was. So this is that row that I put up maybe about a month ago, these rare disc only games. And then we had 2 more right here that sold. And I noticed that Joe left this space for me. And I think it's because Joe wants me to put the right discs there. And I just want to say thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. As the editor of our videos, I'll just be sure to definitely include this clip in the video because this is very important. All right, guys, so I wanted to highlight these games here. All of these games were fixed by our repair guy, Peter. And he basically put new batteries into the Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Silver, and also new batteries into Emerald and Sapphire. And he also fixed this game here. It's a very rare Game Boy Color game, Wendy. Unbelievable that he was able to do that. It wasn't working, and then he has some sort of magic that he does with it, and it's working great. And I know we had a client who was looking for it a couple of months ago when we got it in. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it going. Now it's here, so hopefully you watch our videos, and I'll post to Facebook as well. So hopefully you'll see that and you'll be interested in coming back to get it. All right, guys, so I did a poll a few weeks ago and I asked you what you wanted to see in these videos. One of the things that people want to see more of is the trades. And so I hope you're really enjoying the trades from this video. Another thing people want to see more of is us talking about, you know, owning a store. I think like if you watch these videos, you're probably a retro collector, you like video games obviously, but you're also interested in like the day-to-day functioning of a store. And I've mentioned this in the past before, but you know, part of owning a game store is dealing with negative clients or dealing with negativity or dealing with problems. I mean, it's going to happen, right? The story I'm going to tell you guys today is our one-star Google review. So we have almost 100 5-star reviews right now on Google. And if you haven't given us a 5-star review, please go do that. So 2 years ago, we had somebody come to the store. I'm being totally transparent here. You can go online and you can read his Google review. I'm gonna read his review, and then I'm gonna read our response, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about it because I was actually here that day and I remember it quite well. And I will say this though, for the longest time, this bothered me. I'm like, oh, this 1-star review. And now I just kind of like find it amusing because it's totally, it's not representative of the store, but I will agree that to some extent his experience wasn't the best. And we definitely learned from it. I don't think we deserved the 1-star review. I think he could have changed it after the response that we gave him, but that's his prerogative, right? Basically, this is what he wrote. He's like, staff shoveling a sandwich in his mouth in front of me. Couldn't put down the sandwich to say hello. Very awkward. Second guy in the corner shelving stock again. Didn't even get acknowledged. I didn't know where anything was, so I clumsily looked around. Still nothing from staff. Seriously terrible experience. Overpriced games, eBay pricing. Bought 2 games, got home, one of them didn't work. I'm never going back, blah, 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 right? I was at the store that day. I was the guy in the corner, stocking shelves. I didn't see him walk in. And Frank was, eating his lunch here because it was so busy. This was the first summer after the pandemic when we finally reopened. And there was this massive surge for video games. And we were just busy all the time. And Frank was awesome. And he would most of the time just have his lunch here, eat between customers. Like, that's a pretty solid thing to do, right? He didn't have to do that. He did that because we were always busy. And I was busy in the corner there. So yeah, Frank can't say hi to you. I know Frank very well. And anyone that comes to the store knows Frank. He says hi to everyone. For him to, like, I get that his experience wasn't the best there, but it definitely is not something that we strive to do. We try to say hi to everybody, not just to be friendly, but also to acknowledge you, like, hey, we see you. We know you're here. And I totally didn't see the guy. That was my bad as well, right? So Joe responded, very nice, capitals, everything. And so Joe was at home and Joe responded pretty much immediately, right? Because we didn't even know that this review had come in. He said, hi, Brent, our employee was taking his lunch break in the store as it was very busy today. We do our best to say hello when people enter. Totally true. I guarantee if you had asked a question, it would have been answered. And this was sort of a little frustrating for me because he actually did ask a question. He was looking for N64 games, and I believe he bought 2 of them. And I actually helped him get the N64 games, right? And I remember him asking me after that, he's like, do you guys take trades? And I was like, yeah, we do take trades. And he's like, well, I have a 360 with a bunch of games. And then I was very honest with him. I said, look, I'm very overstocked on 360 right now. Sort of always been overstocked. I said, I can't really take it right now. And I know he was upset by that. And we get people that are upset by this once in a while because they want to trade their old console for even older stuff, but the older stuff is super hard to come by. So I know he wasn't pleased with that. He bought 2 games, one didn't work. Like, our return policy is bring it back. Just message us, say, hey, I bought a game today, it's not working. We'll either refund it or give you a replacement copy. We are super easy to deal with. It's never a problem. Joe goes on here. He said the games are all arranged out in their sections and we do our best to keep them alphabetized. And I thought this was kind of funny, right? Because we, like, the game store is totally organized. So I didn't understand this point of view, right? Like, our store is very tiny. If you can't find stuff in here, ask us and we'll help you, right? As for the 2 games that didn't work, you can return it within 2 weeks and we'll replace it. If we don't have a replacement, we'll give you a refund. So he got that. Finally, for pricing, we do our best to be competitive in the current retro market. And prices had skyrocketed that summer. Boom, right? Like, it just went right up. And July 2021 OC, and July 2021 as well. I speak French during the day, and I totally just threw a French word into my English monologue here. So the word OC means also. Man, that's when the brain's going, right? Anyway, and so he just told them that our prices include HSD, blah, 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 right? But for me, it was more like, look, you came to the store. That's great. It's your first time here. I'm sorry that we didn't acknowledge you. We definitely do our best to do that. If you don't like the prices, I also understand that. But to give us a 1-star review because you don't like the prices, I mean, I find that very unfair because our prices are some of the most competitive, if not the most competitive in the Ottawa area. And we know that. And that's why we have clients that come Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. We don't have people coming in here every single day being like, man, your prices suck. That doesn't happen. The sandwich thing, I mean, you know, it just happened. I do the same thing. You know, in between customers, and it's like, it's just obvious. Like, we're busy. We can't leave. We don't want to close the store for half an hour. So are we a 1-star Google review store? I don't think so. We have tons of awesome clients that absolutely love the store and have given us super good ratings. And thank you if you have done that. And if you haven't, go. But I just wanted to talk about that because it's always there, and I always see it on Facebook, and like sometimes it drives me a little crazy because I'm like, please just, why is this the one that stands out of all the other ones, right? I believe we also have another review. It might be a 3-star review, and I remember this one too. And this was also during the pandemic when people were, you know, getting back into retro games, and some dude came in and he just sort of walked in, sort of started looking around. He was looking at DS games. And I think he said something like, are those the prices? I was like, yep. And then he just kind of made a comment like, that's too expensive. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I thought they'd all be new. And I was like, what do you mean new? I'm like, we're a used video game store. We're a retro video game store. Maybe like 2% of the games in here are sealed or new. And I just don't think he understood that, like, this is a used store. And he gave us a 2-star review, and then I think Joe responded, and then he upped it to a 3-star review because he liked Joe's response. Joe is a bit of a wordsmith. He's like, Joe knows how to like respond to people. He's really, really good at it. So kudos to Joe. I know Joe's going to see this eventually. And Joe, you know how to respond, my friend. And actually, Joe will do a lot of the responses to unsatisfied clients. He does it. Not that I don't want to do it or can't do it. Joe's just a wordsmith. He knows how to, like, you know, do it, right? Anyway, so there's my story. Maybe the question that I can ask here is, have you ever given a bad review to a game store, or have you ever given a good review to a game store? It doesn't have to be our game store. Have you even reviewed your game store, right? And then what's their response been? If you got a good one, or if you gave a good response, did they get back to you and say thank you? If you gave a bad response, did they respond, I would say professionally and let you know, their perspective? So let me know in the comments down below. Have you ever given a Google review, and has the game store owner responded? Cheers, guys. All right, guys, so I have the client requests all lined up here. We had a lot of client requests this week, and I fortunately had most of it. There were a couple of items that I didn't have in stock, so I'm gonna go over this and just show you what people are asking for. So just want to preface this by saying that all of our prices include the tax already and are in Canadian dollars. So first off, we have somebody looking for Snake's Revenge and Dragon Power. Next, we had somebody who messaged us after seeing the last YouTube video and wanted Toxic Crusaders and F1 pole position. We had somebody else looking for Street Fighter Alpha 2 and Contra Force. Another regular of ours looking for Cowboy Kid. This client here is going for a complete set. And this is a beautiful, beautiful cart. Definitely one of the rarest games that we've had in a long time. Another request was Pokemon Silver and Yellow. This is unfortunately my only copy of Yellow right now. It's got a lot of black marker on it, but otherwise the label's pretty good. And they're also looking for the Atomic Purple Game Boy Color. We had somebody looking for this game here, Sonic Advance and Sonic Pinball Party. Another one of our regulars was looking for these games. He also messaged us after seeing our YouTube video. So Arkista's Ring, Ghost Lion, and Metal Storm. He was also asking about Contra Force, but unfortunately he was second in line. So we're gonna see what the other client wants to do about that, and if it's still available, then I'll let him know. Another client was asking about Def Jam games for the PS2. This game went up in value right at the beginning of the pandemic. It just skyrocketed, and it's over $200 right now. It's definitely one of the more expensive PS2 games right now. Definitely harder to find as well. Another client was looking for Dragon Ball Z games, or Dragon Ball Z games, as we would say in Canada. He was looking for games on the PS2 and 360, so I just took these from the shelves, and I'll send him a picture of that. Finally, we had somebody looking for PS4 controllers. I've got 2 in stock right now. This one here and this one here. So what I'm going to do is take pictures of all these, send them to the clients, and we'll see what they say. If you ever are looking for something, feel free to message us during the week. We sometimes show up during the week. Otherwise, we're here on Sunday and we can get back to you then. All right, guys, so I'm pretty much done here. Got through all those client orders and I was actually responding to people on the spot. They were getting back to me. Already sold that Contra Force and the Street Fighter Alpha 2. I had a feeling that that client would grab them right away. She loves the higher end stuff. She actually bought the Turtles Tournament Fighters a while back. So that's already gone, and I suspect other games will be gone once other clients get back to us. So we did that, put the restock away. I had a bunch of miscellaneous stuff I had to do here as well. And yeah, it's a pretty good evening. I'm pretty happy with what I was able to accomplish. It's about 9:30 right now, so I've been here for about 3 hours, and I'm gonna go home. Hopefully there's no ghosts outside, because the last time Joe was outside, I think it was the ghost of Tony Hawk that was out there.
But I'm just outside the flea market, and we're gonna go to the unit and pick up the restock for next week. If I wait till Sunday morning, I just won't have time to do that and get everything ready for the store to open, so we gotta do it tonight, guys, so here we go.
I haven't disrespected Tony Hawk today, so it should be a good time. Thank you for watching. We truly appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like the video, leave us a comment down below. We love to read the comments, and we'll talk to you later.